morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to our 300th weekly webcast. I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for making this possible. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope that you've inspired each other with the millions of amazing questions you've asked since 2018 when I started doing this, including this, as well as teaching my MBA classes. I've done more than 7,000 hours of VILT on YouTube, meaning virtual instructor-led teaching. I hope you enjoyed every second. More importantly, though, you've inspired not just each other, but me a tremendous amount. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Okay, we're just getting started. I am going to be doing this for the rest of my life. It will seem like tomorrow when we do week 1,000. It'll be hard to fit in all the balloons, though. But anyway, all good. Thank you. You've changed my life, all of you. I love all of you. Thank you. All right. More importantly, though, let me get right to your questions. Okay. Oh, one quick housekeeping announcement here. So this is actually the last webcast of the year. Okay. For those of my silver and gold and platinum program, we have webcasts after this, our last one for Thursday. But for everybody in general, I'm going to be on vacation for 2 weeks. So this is the last webcast of the year. So please get your questions in. All right, let me turn on GTA 6 background here. It's nice, huh? And when GTA 6 comes out, y'all ain't going to see me for at least a month. You know that. Okay. All right, let me get to your questions. All right, first up, we got Nick. Nick wrote, we talked over Zoom one day. I bought a subscription to all your programs. Just a quick question. Are there any sessions where I can get some feedback on my resume and LinkedIn profile? I was following your approaches. Thank you. My subscription includes the Silver MBA degree and other small courses. Absolutely. And so I asked you to enter in your name. Okay, so what I'll do is this. I'm gonna do a review of your LinkedIn profile, and everybody else watching, I'm gonna make my answers generic to this review so that you can apply this to your website if you want to. All right, so without further ado, let's begin. Let's go to LinkedIn. I just wrote your name and I put it in a clipboard here. Here we go. Okay, cool. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up. Okay. And these are notes you can all use in terms of optimizing your LinkedIn profile as well. The first thing I always look at is top voice down here. You want to make sure you don't have any politicians, meaning Democrat, Republican, conservative, NDP, liberal, whatever it is, because a lot of people will like you, but a lot of people might not like you as much, so to speak. So you never want to do that. Okay, companies, cool, newsletters, schools. All right, so it looks like you're interested in hedge funds here. And if anybody has questions about the markets and what the Federal Reserve did yesterday, I'm happy to go there as well. So it looks like you wrote here, junior long short equity analyst. Yeah, that's great. So you want to work at a hedge fund. I probably put a line right here. Okay, so it looks like this. Let me go here. So let's go to this guy here. You see right here, so there's a line right here. I would do a line right there. I would write equity research and maybe financial analyst as well. And the reason I say that is because this is an index field from an SEO perspective. People will look up and search this field directly right here. Okay, great. All right, now you're passionate about stocks. Cool. That's I had lunch right there. Actually, when I raised money in Dubai years ago. That's awesome. That's the Dubai financial market right by Deutsche Bank's headquarters there in the UAE. That's awesome. People will know that you're passionate about finance, and your picture is great as well. I always want you guys to be smiling a little bit, which is good. Never put writing on this image here, guys. And the reason I say that is because you always have to design for mobile. And so if you look at your profile on a mobile handset, you won't be able to read the writing. It'll be too small. And never leave this gray, which is the default. You always want to put an image in here. Now, Steve Jobs always talked about the power of 3 and how 3 bullet points on a slide looks great. Any more, we get confused. It's the same thing with images. Any great image you've ever seen usually has 3 layers, right? So for example, the beach, you got the sky, the ocean, and the beach. And you can have 3 kids as well, which won't work with this blue screen here. Yeah. So anyway, power of 3. And I can show you another example. So I have one of my platinum students from a couple of years ago, Dr. Dion. She has a great LinkedIn profile. So as you can see right here, she's got the power of 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And we'll come back to Dion's profile in a bit. All right, but let me continue to give you feedback on yours. Okay, now for the contact info, let's see. Good. Now, a lot of people don't change this profile link right here. You have to change it because it gives you some esoteric number. You can always go into settings to make it first initial, last name. All right, now in terms of your bio, when you guys write your bios, and I'll wrap this up in 60 seconds, I promise, but when you write your bio, what I want you to do is think about it like you're about to give a keynote speech. And somebody says to you, do you have a bio I can read to introduce you? So you want to write it in the third person. So I would change this from my to your full name, okay? And then you don't have to use your name the whole time. You can say he, and then Nick, and then whatever throughout this, yeah. But the parallel construction structure is great. Here I have my own column in Forbes magazine, and I used to have one in Inc. magazine years ago on the side, and my editor always told me, never, ever, for the rest of your life, in articles, emails, whatever, never have more than 3 sentences per paragraph, right? We just can't process more than 3. It comes back to the rule of third again. Yeah, and I probably start with an inspiring quote as well. Now, Nick, you're in the Silver MBA program, and so go to the first lecture of your curriculum, and every Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific time, meaning when this call ends, every Thursday, I do a 1-hour Zoom, so I can talk to you in more detail about this. You have access every Thursday, 1 hour, forever, okay, to that Zoom, even after you're done with the program. All right, let me go down here. Activity. I want you to start writing. And I want you to think of yourself as a thought leader, Nick. What I want you to do is I want you to write articles about finance, about long-term investments, okay? And I can help you with that during Silver office hours. And I want you to think of yourself like the Rodin sculpture. You're a thought leader. I think, therefore, I am. If you write 1 article per week on your LinkedIn profile, I promise you, in the long run, you're going to get journalists that will reach out to you, okay? And this will help you for your informational interviews as well, okay? I would write what you're doing right now. And if you're having issues with discussing what that is, you can let me know. Yeah. And for those of you that have had a lot of jobs in a short amount of time, don't list the months, just the years. Okay. Yeah. I would get rid of this right here. And I can tell you why when we do the one-on-one. And I'll take a look at these write-ups later as well. Okay. And then you need at least 5 or 10 recommendations written for you. Okay, I've burned up my 60 seconds. Let me get back on track now. And I think I'll use see if this works, my Manhattan backdrop here. Okay. And there's clouds moving, and that's coffee right there, if you can see. Okay. All right, next question I've got here is Shahar. Good morning to you as well. Ani chotze coffee achshav. Shahar is one of my platinum students. Next up, Albert, and that's my son Dylan's middle name, wrote, hey Chris, today I can't attend the session. Just want to wish you a happy 300th webinar. You are really inspiring. Thank you. And hope you keep having fun while doing these videos. Have a nice session. You are the best. No, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I've had so much fun doing this. If you go back to my very first webcast, which you can get on my YouTube channel, I had a little MacBook. I had a white backdrop. The quality of the audio video was terrible. That's okay. And for all of you that want to start your own YouTube channel or start doing lives or start making videos, I'm begging you, please don't try to be perfect. Because as Salvador Dali said, he's a great artist, if you strive for perfection, you'll never reach it. And as Reid Hoffman said, and he's the brilliant co-founder of LinkedIn, he said, if you release your product when it's release your product when it's perfect, you've already missed the market. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. And Ilker wrote, hey Nick, I graduated from soon as well. Very cool. And by the way, for all of you in my silver, gold, platinum, diamond programs, I recently deployed a Discord channel. Go to your curriculum to access Discord so you can talk to the thousands of students that have done my MBA program since we launched it back in October or November of 2019. Yeah, we scrapped Slack because they make you pay. Yeah, Discord's open source. I love it. All right. Good morning, Lay. Great to see you as well. Okay. Awesome. Peter wrote, congrats on the 300th office hours. Thank you. You wrote, what do you enjoy the most about doing them? I enjoy helping people. I do. And I'm not motivated by money. And I think if people are over-motivated by money, they're going to be depressed for life. So for me, really quick backstory, but when I started working in corporations, I started off working at Accenture, and then I worked at Goldman. I worked, hedge funds. I worked at venture capital, all that stuff. And the happiest moment for me was always when I was mentoring other people. And I humbly got an award for this when I worked at Accenture. This is a wonderful Canadian award, very patriotic enough that I want Justin Trudeau to resign yesterday. But when I was working for other companies, it was always very uncomfortable because whenever I had my annual review, my boss would always say something along the lines of, "You're doing a great job. Everybody loves working with you. You're making the firm a lot of money, whatever. But can you spend a little bit less time mentoring other people?" And my answer is always, no, it's just the DNA subfabric of who I am. I'm here to serve you. I'm here to help all of you. And so what I love is helping my students change careers so they can be happier. It's not about money, it's about happiness. And so I feel like I'm your waiter. Okay? I'm here to serve you. Imagine that, a teacher talking to a student like a customer. So when you go to a restaurant, you look at the entire menu, right? But you only choose to eat one or two things. That's my job. That's my passion, my purpose, ma raison d'être, is to expose you to tons of different types of careers, investments, whatever it is, startups, so that you can choose whatever you're most passionate about. Yeah. And similar when you go to eat, you usually order two things. I want you to all have two jobs until you're self-employed. What does that mean? Well, your primary job is the company you work at, and your secondary job is writing your business plan on the side so you can launch your own side hustle. And a lot of students will ask me, they'll say, "Chris, I've started my side hustle. It's going well. When should I quit my full-time job?" Well, I always say that when your 6 month trailing revenue in your startup is greater than your annual salary, that's when you quit. And I say 6 months because you can never base it off of 1 or 2 good months because of seasonality. Like November, December are always great months for retail, for example. Okay. All right, moving on. Okay, next up, Ren wrote, "I enrolled in the MBA program starting on January 27th. Awesome, that's right, and that's our, that's going to be our 10th 1-year program. You wrote, "I'm excited to get started. Are there any of your electives you suggest I can start before the January 27th course begins?" Yeah, absolutely, and I'll show you really quickly. All right, so if you go to my website, okay, and you go to MBA FAQs. I just want to explain to people quickly how this works, as I get a lot of questions on this. So there's 4 MBA programs. This one you can start today. It's like Netflix. It's $99 a month, 30-day money-back guarantee. These 2 here start on January 27th, every Monday and Tuesday from 4 p.m. until 7 p.m. Pacific time. And then this one here, I don't take many customers, but you can book a call if you're interested. In terms of the electives, if you go to the last lecture of your curriculum, there's a bunch of electives you can take. I recommend starting with the real estate elective, which I just published for my MBA degree students. And I would start looking at that closely because I don't want you to rent a home. I want you to own. It's the most important investment you'll ever make. Okay. If you work in sales, I'd probably take this sales elective here. If you're interested in tech stuff, you can watch these as well. You can actually start watching the whole program right now if you want to. And if you want, you can actually join me for 3-hour Zoom call today. Every week, I do a 3-hour Zoom call for my gold and platinum students. Look in your curriculum for details on how to access that. Thanks. All right. Next up, Sue wrote, "Good day, all. It's a beautiful day in South Africa. I'm here for inspirational, motivational, and educational content. I love it when one teaches to learn." Yeah. And if anybody wants to teach online, let me know. I want to help you. We all have something to teach. There are so many people that are making a killing teaching online. And the reason they're making a killing is because you haven't started teaching in that particular vertical, so to speak. There's even a lady I interviewed for my Inc. magazine column years ago named Patricia Greenway. And she was in an abusive marriage, a tragic story. and her husband, was abusive towards her. She had a lot of kids. They were on welfare, and she had the guts, the chutzpah to leave that bastard. She took her kids with her, and she was living off of food stamps. And she thought, what can I do? What can I do to make money to provide food for my kids? And she's passionate about baking bread. So Teresa, or it's Teresa Greenway, not Patricia, sorry. She started teaching how to bake bread. How prophetic is that? And she's made a killing. Search for her name on Udemy, you'll see, and on Facebook, etc. Everybody can teach, even Ninja. So my kids still play this game, Fortnite. Apparently there was a big update the other day. That's why they're not talking to me. They're playing. But Ninja, who plays Fortnite, makes a fortune off of streaming Fortnite. He started out on Udemy teaching how to stream. You can search his name there on Udemy if you want to. Yeah. All right. Next up, Ren wrote, also, as someone that is looking to pivot to not working in my career anymore and going out on my own, what safety nets do you suggest before I completely leave my roles? Yeah. So I never recommend using your own money to start a company. What I recommend doing is raising money. And so in the MBA program, you start January 27th, you wrote, in the third semester, we're going to do a massive venture capital boot camp. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to teach you how to write a business plan. Failing the plan is planning to fail. And what you're going to do with me is you're going to fill out this venture capital boot camp spreadsheet with me. It's easy. Talk about the management team, the competition, your go-to-market strategy, your financials. And what comes out of this are two things. Number one, a massive business plan. Number two, presentation slides. And I've humbly raised and managed over $1 billion in my career. So I'm going to teach you how to raise capital. Now, for those of you that don't want to sign up for my MBA program, that's cool. What you can do is go to my website, HarounMBA.com. MBA does not stand for married but available. Sorry. Go to HarounMBA.com, scroll down, and download this networking book for free. Okay. It's called A Networking to Get Customers, a Job, or Anything You Want. It'll help you learn how to network to get a job, potentially raise capital, etc. Yeah. And Ren, if you want, you can join the 3-hour office hours call, Zoom office hours call later today. Just check the curriculum for more details, or email support@harounventures.com. And I'll see you every week for 3 hours forever. Even after the program is done, you get lifetime access. Yeah. All right. Next up, Andre. Great to see you. Who's in my platinum program? I think you started last year. Wrote, congratulations on the big 300. Thank you. God bless you and your great works. Thank you, and God bless you and your family more. Yeah. Excellent. All right. Kevin wrote, woohoo, Mazel Tov for the 300th webcast. Thank you. And as I said, ani chotze kafi achshav. I appreciate that. Thank you. Okay. All right. And then Ilker wrote, Ilker, I'm so sorry, my fault. It's hard for me to see these things. The older I get, the better I was. You wrote, added you on LinkedIn. Excellent. Thank you. Sue wrote, happy 300th episode, and thank you for the salsa dancer icon as well. Thank you. All right. Next up, Mac 11:11. Oh, I like that. So Mark 11:11 in the Bible. I'll read that verse. Thank you. You wrote, Chris, I'm currently taking your Introduction to Finance Accounting Modeling and Valuation course. I'm trying to use what I've learned to create a scanner on TOS. Some metrics I could for value and growth. Excellent. Thank you. And what you can do, I've got a new course coming out actually in a couple of weeks. And what I do in this course is I teach you how to analyze financial statements. Okay. It's got this 8 megabyte file. Okay. And what you do is you answer a bunch of questions. I give you an introduction to the income statement. We analyze Tesla's income statement, also the Walt Disney's, Nintendo, etc. Then what we do is we go through and do case studies on Nvidia, Supermicro, Warren Buffett's company, Berkshire Hathaway, under the balloons here. And then I ask you a ton of questions. And you answer all the questions. And we use AI in it. And the AI prompt level you can select goes from, I think I started at the 8th grade, all the way up to hedge fund, mutual fund level. And once you answer all this stuff, what happens is you get a massive, massive detailed report on the financial statements health of the company. We analyze the footnotes as well and so much more, and a one-page executive summary as well. Look for that to hit your MBA programs in January. Go to the last lecture of your MBA curriculum, all silver, gold, platinum, diamond students, to access this elective, many more for free. Thank you. All right, JK, great to see you. Okay. All right, next up, Kevin wrote, I'd love to get your thoughts. I heard that people outside the United States, we have to pay up to 40% taxes when taking out money from the market. Would it be better to invest in Irish ETFs? Yeah. So yeah, in Ireland, there's only 11.5% corporate taxes. That has nothing to do, though, with personal income tax. You still might have to pay taxes on that if you realize a gain. Now, what I recommend doing is getting an account. I want everybody in this call to get an account. Please, I'm begging you. Because the tax code changes in every country, every region, every year. And doing your own taxes is like doing surgery on yourself, as crazy as that sounds. If you get an expert to do your taxes, there's a good chance you'll get money back and you'll stay within the confines of the law. Yeah. What I also want everybody in this call to do, and this is crucial, I want everybody to max out, if you can, max out your retirement savings program contributions every year. So in the United States, it's called a 401k. And if you're in a different country, do a search for what is the 401k equivalent in your country's name. And the way it works is you can put about $23,000 a year, tax-free, into a retirement savings account. Buy ticker VOO, for example, which is the ETF for the S&P 500. It'll go up on average 15 to 20% every year, and there will be down years. And if you max that out every year, the 23K, you'll have way over $1 million, I promise you, in 20 years. If your spouse does it, you'll have over $2 million in 20 years. If you max out educational savings accounts for your kids, which is about 15 grand, which is hard to do every year, that's 700 grand per kid in 18 years. It's unbelievable, right? Plus you get the appreciation from your house. You'll be worth between 5 and 10 million in 20 years if you follow my methodology. And I want you all to also, as I mentioned earlier, buy your own house, please, right? Or apartment. It took me till my 30s to do it, but I've got a great template as well in my MBA degree program, the complete real estate course. It works in every country in the world. I ask you a ton of questions. A business plan is made for you as well. I teach you what an ideal real estate investment is. I also teach you how to select property and value property using 5 different methodologies. How do mortgages work, income statement I make for you from scratch, balance sheet, formulas, etc. Out of this, you get a one-pager. It looks like this, okay? And I demystify the whole mortgage process. And what killed me was when I was in school, they never explained to me. I went to Columbia University for an MBA in finance, which I humbly think is maybe the best finance program MBA in the world. Screw you, Wharton. But they never taught us how a mortgage works. And so what happens is when you complete that elective in my MBA program, a 27-page report is automatically created for you. Okay, it's got all your formulas, your financial health, as well as the mortgage table. I explain everything from scratch. And I don't want anybody to start a company without writing a business plan first. Same thing with a house. That's how we say it in Canada. It's not house, Americans, okay? It's hoose. All right. All right, next up, Danny Drives. Well, it's been a while, man. How are you? Danny Drives wrote, since you're a gamer, Nintendo Switch just surpassed PlayStation 2 as the second best-selling video game console ever. It's amazing, yeah. And I've read all the reports on the Switch 2. Apparently that's going to be the name, which is going to come out it's going to be announced next year. It's supposed to be announced in May. It looks like they're going to announce it in January now, according to people familiar with the matter. And it's going to be about the same size. It's going to have a slightly larger screen. I think it's going to be dope butter open. There's an extra button on the front. I don't know what that's for yet, though. Hi, I'm 52 and a half. Yeah. I used to invest in Nintendo. I actually met with, we do a case study on it, my MBA program. And later on today, I actually have 6 really special guests, okay, that I'm going to be interviewing. You don't want to miss it. And one of them is going to talk about Nintendo, Apple, etc. Yeah. Okay. Next question is from Omkar, who wrote, hey, Chris, how do you look for a career? Yeah. So what I would say, if there's anybody watching right now that's not happy with their career, what I would do is this, okay? I want you to picture yourself at home, and you can't work, you can't go to school, and you can't travel for 30 days. You have to stay home. What are you going to do with your time? Whatever that is your career, your passion, your raison d'être. Let me help you change careers or start a side hustle in that area. Okay. I want you to be happy. If you're happy, you'll be very productive, you'll live longer, and you'll be much wealthier. Because if you chase money, just for money's sake, and I get it, when we're younger, we got to do it, we got to pay the bills. But if you chase money, you lose your dreams and your money. But if you chase your dreams and you don't give a darn what people think of you, something amazing happens. Your dreams come true and the money follows accidentally. It always does. And the worst thing that can happen to you is you wake up one day when you're older and you're like, damn it, I don't want to get out of bed because I'm working for this schmuck that pays me this much money to make his dreams become a reality. So I want to help you reinvent yourself starting today. And maybe that's your New Year's resolution. And for all of you with your New Year's resolutions, I want you to write your resolutions and a deadline date. And Tony Robbins, who I met, I actually introduced in one of my portfolio companies where I worked in venture capital, and he convinced me to start teaching. He said that 90% of people give up on their New Year's resolutions by the third week of January because they don't set a deadline date. So everybody set a deadline date for your New Year's resolutions. And vocalize your goals too. Tell friends of yours that you trust about your goals. And every now and then when they see you, they'll say, how's that goal coming along? They'll put pressure on you in a good way. All right, next up, Kevin wrote, I'd also love to hear more about the estate taxes and how it applies for people in Israel and what can we do to avoid paying them. Yeah. So I never give accounting advice. Talk to your accountant. Ask them, please. I know that in the United States, you pay high estate taxes. I set up a revocable trust. And if anybody wants to set up a revocable trust and life insurance policy and all that stuff and a will, I want you to go to LegalZoom.com. I'm not sponsored by anybody. I was for a nanosecond there, but I can't do it. I can't do it anymore because I don't want to be influenced in terms of recommending the wrong products. Go to LegalZoom.com. Yeah. And a lot of people ask me, they say, Chris, how come you don't have 1 million subscribers? Your content is humbly great. It's because I don't believe in sponsorships, right? I almost caved in earlier this year with Seeking Alpha. I've nixed it, which is also a great company based, I think, in Tel Aviv. And also, I do criticize YouTube vocally right here. Okay, and you are my customer, the student, nobody else, no corporation. And what happened was in 2021, it made me sick. What happened was one of my platinum students, okay, a doctor from the Midwest, he came onto a webcast, and he just expressed, his thoughts on, vaccination. Now, I got the vaccine, the COVID vaccine, from Pfizer. And he was arguing nicely, gently, logically, why he doesn't believe in the vaccine. And what happened was that video was blocked by YouTube, okay? And I got a warning from YouTube. They gave me a warning. They said, that's medical misinformation. Do that again, you get a strike. And I was like, that's ridiculous. It's like freedom of speech, I guess, is only a government thing. And to get that warning removed from my page, they made me take this exam, answering these questions. Absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. So anyway, since day one, I put you, my students, first, and I'll continue to do that when we're on week 1,000. Yeah. And I'm going to figure out how to reverse aging as well by then. All right, let me move on. Okay. All right. And then Omkar wrote, you take your career seriously. I do. I'm here to serve you. I'm here to help you. And for those of you that aren't happy in your career, another way to look at it is this. If the product or service that you're selling is helping people, if you're helping them, you'll do much better. You'll make more money because your heart's into it, not just this. Yeah. And we're all here to serve others. Yeah. And if you're not helping somebody, maybe get another job, change careers, I'm here to help you, or start your own company. I'm certainly here to help you with that as well. Yeah. Okay. Boxing Guy. Oh, hey. Wrote, hey, Chris, happy holidays from Utah. Thank you. Happy holidays to you, too. And for those of you that celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas, and how dare we not say Merry Christmas. Yeah. I love everyone. All right, Jeffrey wrote, happy 300th webcast, Chris. Thank you. It's surreal. I still can't believe it. It's nutty, nutty. All right, let me try a different background here. Try this. Looks kind of cool, and that's moving. Yeah. All right. And there's a reason why I don't use green screen. I use a blue screen. It's because my eyes are green. Thank you, my Irish grandmother. I miss you. And anybody that's in movies from Ireland, a lot of people in Ireland have green eyes. As a result, they have to wear contacts during movies. Otherwise, you see right through them when you have a green screen. That's why I use a blue screen instead. Okay. Omkar wrote, I'm at the age of 25. Should I take a career seriously? Yeah, I mean, you're at a young age. I didn't know the difference between preferred stock and livestock at that age. But if you wake up in the morning, tell yourself you're not passionate or happy doing what you're doing, then, search for happiness by changing careers, by doing networking meetings, right? So you can see through the blue here in networking. You get this book from my website. Yeah. And when I was your age, I didn't know what I wanted to do. A bit younger. What I did was I thought I wanted to be a lawyer. And my dad's a doctor and my brother's a doctor. They're both radiologists, which means they fix radios. And I thought, well, I kind of want to do something important too. So I went out and I met with lawyers. And I wanted to be a lawyer. And the reason was because I read all the John Grisham books, Pressure to be a Doctor or a Lawyer, all that stuff. I watched A Few Good Men with Tom Cruise, loved that movie, and Jack Nicholson's performance. He got an Oscar for it. And then I started setting up informational meetings. I sat down with a lot of lawyers. And I came to the conclusion that, are you a jerk before you go to law school, or is that something they teach you in law school? But just do tons of informational meetings, and I promise you, you will find your passion eventually. Yeah. Okay. All right. The second I said, how dare we not say Merry Christmas, I lost 10 viewers. How dare we not say Merry Christmas? Okay. It's great not having sponsors. All right. Sheriff wrote, hello, Chris. Nice to catch one of your lives today. Thank you. And I hope you join us again. Thank you. All right. Boxing Guy wrote, Chris, for the new year, I'm going to talk with the leader at my company and get involved as a mentee for a mentorship program. Do you have personal experience in a corporate mentorship program? I don't think there's really anything to learn. Just meet with people that are younger than you and help them to get promoted. And all you have to do is this. Anybody who wants to get promoted on this webcast, it's pretty simple. Here's what you do. In your company, right, if you have an HR department, ask them for the criteria or form to get promoted to the next level, and you'll see the criteria. Or better yet, and a lot of my students have gotten raises and promotions because of this advice. Okay, now first of all, I want to tell you all, you ever look around in your company and you realize, hey, these people are getting promoted and raises faster than I am. WTF, why the face? Why is that happening? Do you know why? Because behind closed doors, they ask. Ask and receive. It's prophetic. It's been true since the beginning of time. If you want anything in life, you have to ask. If you want to get a date, you got to ask. I had to ask over and over again a million times. So here's how you do it. When your boss congratulates you on a job well done for something, and they're usually in a good mood when they congratulate you, what you do is you say, thank you so much. Do you have time for a coffee? And you sit down with them and you start off with something like this, if true. We've accomplished a lot as a team together. I'm really excited about the outlook. I want to ask you. So, as you know, it's really expensive to raise, a family here in the Bay Area or wherever you guys are from. And I want to provide the best standard of living for my children and my family. And so I want to ask you if you can please give me advice on what I need to achieve in order to get considered for a promotion or a raise. And they're going to tell you stuff, and you're going to furiously write down everything. And if you meet me in real life, I'm a tiny man, but you're going to write down everything, okay? And then 6 months after that, once they come up to you and congratulate you on a job well done again, you say, thank you. Do you have time for a coffee? And you sit down with them, and you start with the usual, if true, we've accomplished so much as a team. I love our vision, yada, yada. Last time we met, I told you how, it's expensive to raise a family in the Bay Area, and I want to provide the best standard of living for my family. And I asked you to please provide me with criteria in order for me to be considered for a raise or promotion. And I'm very humbled to say, and that's what you say before you brag. It's a Canadian thing. I'm very humbled to say that I've achieved all of the criteria as follows. And you go through it, and then you say, so I'd love to ask you, please, for a raise or a promotion. And you might have to ask 3 times before you get it. But I promise you, everybody behind closed doors asks for this stuff. Anybody who's vice president in your company, they ask. It's all about asking. And you only have to be right in business one time. And, Michael Jordan, who's way better than LeBron, I have to tell my kids that all the time because they don't know. He said, I've failed over and over again in my life, and that's why I succeed. You got to ask over and over and over again. You got to be relentless, like a pit bull on a pork chop. And with my kids, when they were younger, they were like 1 or 2, they started standing up. And then they were kind of learning how to walk, and they each fell down at least 100 times. And I didn't look at them after the 50th time falling down and say, you know what, son? This whole walking thing, maybe it's not for you. Just keep at it. Be relentless. Be a pit bull on a pork chop. And since the day they were born, I've said 2 things to them, and they answer quickly. The first thing I say is this: you never, and they say, give up. And then I say, you always finish, and they say, what you start. Yeah. Now, I'm not the best father because there's lots of flaws with my kids. For example, the other night, my kid opened the fridge, right? And, he said to himself, he said out loud, there's nothing to eat. All I see are ingredients. Yeah. It's true. Okay. All right. All right. Next up, Jesus, God bless you, I love you, wrote, and I've got this here. Got this from my church, from this Palestinian family in Bethlehem. They make these things. Obviously, their business is dried up, so I made sure that I got everybody I know to buy these things. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And then Jesus wrote, congratulations on the 300th weekly webcast. You never get older. Oh, I do. Yeah. I have senior moments. It happens. Okay. But when you have senior moments like I do, what you can do is exactly this. And this goes for anybody. You're giving a presentation and you're not sure what to say next. You're frozen. So there's a couple of crutch words you can use. You can say in terms of, then think while you're saying that, or moving on to if it's a presentation. Or up next we have, and you look at your slides. Or what you can do is if you're stuck, you can always, mention a quote. Right? Like, for example, sometimes I'll be on stage. I'm like, I don't know what to say next. Or I can't think that quickly. And so I'll say something like this. Mark Twain once said, the 2 most important days in your life are number 1, the day you're born, and number 2, the day you find out why. We are here today to talk about blah, 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 whatever it is. These work. You can also use frameworks to help you buy time in an interview or when you're presenting. And I teach this in my MBA program. For example, there's something called the SWOT framework, SWOT, which stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. If you're asked a question in an interview and it's hard for you to think about the answer quickly, you say, it's a great question. Well, in terms of the SWOT analysis approach, I'll kick it off with the strengths. The strengths are blah, blah, blah. So you bought time to think. In terms of, transition words, in terms of the opportunities, which are blah, blah, blah. Moving on to the threats, which are blah, blah, blah. I think I missed weaknesses. And lastly, the weaknesses. And if you're ever rambling, like I clearly do, but if you're ever rambling in an interview, you can always say, and the bottom line is. See, I had a senior moment. SWOT. I did SOTW in that example. All right, next up, we've got here E-Dash wrote, good morning, Chris. Good morning. Welcome to the call. I'm working on a reading list for 2025. What are your top 10 books? Yeah. Number one, the most important one, I think, is a Dale Carnegie book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's an oldie but a goodie. And without Dale Carnegie, who wrote that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, without that book, there would be no Tony Robbins or other great speakers or motivational speakers today. He's amazing. He invented the industry. He'll teach you how to talk to people, how to listen, how to arouse an eager want, etc. And you can listen to that book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Listen to it multiple times, please, on Audible. And I don't read books, I listen to them. I also want you to listen to books on very successful people so you can learn the blueprint of their success. For example, Alexa, read my book.
Resuming Elon Musk from Audible. There's about 5 minutes left in this chapter and
Alexa,
about 3 hours.
Stop. Yeah, it's a Walter Isaacson masterpiece. Do that book by Isaacson. Also do the Steve Jobs book by Isaacson. Don't read theory when you want to learn business or personal development. I want you to take advice from people that have done it. And so I don't know what career you're passionate about, but find 5 or 10 people that wrote autobiographies or biographies are written about them in business and listen to those. And that will give you a blueprint for success. Yeah. Aside from that, there's a free book on my website I mentioned before, the networking book. That's probably the only advice I have for you. Yeah. If you want to learn about finance and investing, I don't want you to read books. It's theoretical crap. My dad used to say, by professors, my dad used to say, those who can't do, teach. I teach. And then he said, those who can't teach gym class. And I suck at sports. So, no, but all seriousness, don't read finance books. I want you to do exactly this. Ready? 2 things. Number 1, every morning when you're showering, this is exactly what I did this morning when I was showering. Okay, I always do this. Alexa, Wall Street Journal news.
From the Wall Street Journal.
Alexa, stop. Here's the second one. Alexa, finance news today.
From Bloomberg.
Alexa, stop. Yeah, and of course the focus today was on the government shutdown, as well as the Federal Reserve rate cut yesterday and the signal that they're not going to be cutting anymore, maybe. Yeah, that's all you need to do. Okay. And that's working smarter and not harder. All right, Javesh, first time I've seen you on the call. Hope you join us again. I wrote, hi, Chris, thanks so much for what you do. Thank you for being here. By the way, I'm halfway through your course, the Complete Personal Finance course. I feel that having a financial mentor to guide me would be incredibly beneficial. Could you advise me on how to find one? Your help would be greatly appreciated. Yeah. Number 1, get an accountant. Okay. Number 2, look to see if you have a rich aunt, uncle, parent, cousin, friend at work that can give you advice. Number 3, take my MBA program. I'm happy to do it. Or what you can do is this. I don't want to turn this into an infomercial. But go to my website, which is harounmba.com. And at the bottom here, click on this blue button to schedule a Zoom call with me. Yeah. And if anybody wants to be mentored, you can always click that button and do a Zoom with me. It's always fun to talk to my students. Okay. All right. Next up, Sharif, as in Omar Sharif, wrote, what is the real difference between an angel investor and a VC, a venture capital firm? Yeah. Angel investor is basically a rich dude that invests really, really early on. Once you start to develop the product, it looks like, hey, this might be a real product. Maybe it'll generate revenue. Then VCs, okay? And then with VCs, you do, the first round is called the A round. Then another VC invests a year or 2 later. That's the B round. Then the C round, then the D round, and then IPO if you make it. Most companies never make it past the C round. Yeah. Yeah, and you always want to raise money initially from high net worth investors, meaning angel investors, because the sales cycle is quite short, right? I don't want anybody here that starts a company to call VCs right away. The reason I say that is because when you talk to VCs or institutional investors or pension funds, you end up talking to these junior analysts that work there. And these junior analysts work 250 days a year. and their job is to take 3 meetings a day. So all you are is a checkbox, 1 out of 750. Yeah, so don't do it. Always talk to the decision maker in life. Next question I've got is, Mina wrote, happy 300th webcast, Chris. Thank you. Thank you for all your advice, wisdom, and mentoring us with your genuine heart. Thank you. And one teaches, two learn. And you all inspire me so much. Thank you. So I've got, I think it's about 2 million paying students now in every country. It's surreal. Yeah. And I don't have a single employee. I run an S corporation, and I have tons of contractors all over the world that do stuff, so that all I can focus on is teaching, selling, whatever it is. Yeah. Okay. All right, next up, Boxing Guy wrote, I'm seeing the Trump administration is maybe thinking of getting rid of the FDIC. That would be a terrible idea. Yeah, I don't think that will happen, right? So what's happening is the reason that financial services stocks have been skyrocketing this year, JP Morgan is up 50%, is because Trump is implying that he's going to massively deregulate financial services. Less regulation means, you can make more money usually. But I don't think he's going to go as far as that, because with FDIC, there's insurance. What that means is if a bank goes belly up, you're insured to get 250 grand back. That's why you never have more than 250 grand in any one bank. Yeah, I can't see him doing that. Now, a lot of people are worried about what Trump is going to do. And the market tends to price things in. So the market, as of 8 or 9 days ago or 10 days ago was at an all-time high. And it was at an all-time high after he said he's going to put 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico, which he won't do. And the ultimate judge of how Trump does in real time is going to be the stock market. And I don't think he's going to be focused on making the market go down. Yeah. Love him or hate him, there's flaws to everybody. But what Trump does is the way he negotiates, most people negotiate like this. I want this, they want this, we meet here. The way Trump does it is he says, I want this, the other party says, I want this. And they meet maybe somewhere over here, right? He's great at negotiating. Love him or hate him, he can get a deal done. Yeah. And I'm happy to go into more detail on that if you guys want to talk business or politics. Yeah. Okay. And a lot of people are worried today. People are worried that, the government's going to shut down. It's just a bluff. Okay. This happens all the time. Yeah. Yeah. What's really happening with the markets right now? Okay. I'm going to tell you why the markets have pulled back 8 or 9 days in a row. Markets are up a little bit today. What's really happening is this, okay, behind the scenes, and nobody talks about this, is hedge fund portfolio managers and mutual fund portfolio managers. They've had a great year. Markets have done great this year. It's getting near year end. And what they're doing is they're locking in their year end bonus. So they're taking down exposure, selling their long positions, maybe scaling some of the shorts if they're running too long in a hedge fund so they can get paid. And the way you get paid in a hedge fund is you get 20% of the profits the hedge fund makes. So if a hedge fund is up $1 billion, you get $200 million, right? The owner of the hedge fund does. And then he or she will give the portfolio managers about half of that, 10%. Yeah. Now, the way you get paid in a mutual fund, usually, you get a nice base, maybe a small bonus. But you have to beat a benchmark and generate what's called alpha. So if your benchmark is the S&P 500, and the S&P is up 10% 1 year, and you're up 11%, you generated 1% or 100 basis points of alpha. That's how they get paid. So the bottom line is, people are trying to lock in their bonuses. All right. All right. Finn wrote, congrats on your 300th weekly office hours. Thank you. Surreal. Jesus wrote, I plan to profit from my 2 weeks of Christmas break to take the AI, Python, and real estate courses, meaning the electives in the MBA program that you signed up for, yeah, about 4 to 5 hours a day. How many hours do you estimate to complete the 3? Yeah, the Python one might take you 4 or 5 days. There's lots of exercises. I teach it with Lego. It's a lot of fun. In terms of the AI ones, you could probably do both of them in 1 day. The real estate course might take you about 2 days because I asked you tons of questions and you fill in a lot of stuff so that your business plan comes out before you buy your house. Yeah. Okay, and then Fat Bastard I love that name because it reminds me, I know where you got it from. You got it from Austin Powers 3. Remember Mike Myers said, "Get in my belly. Give me my baby back, baby back, baby back." Fat Bastard wrote, "You can learn Python on YouTube for free, taught by Harvard and MIT." Absolutely. Yeah, you can get that for free. All right. Next up, Zimmer wrote, "Hey, Chris, happy 300th weekly live. Thank you. I would just like to ask you your take on the latest decision by the Fed on interest rates, etc." Yeah. So as expected, they cut interest rates by 25 basis points. But the Federal Reserve, what they did was they kind of implied that they may have to raise interest rates next year. And there's nothing wrong with that, because if we have inflation, that means the economy is doing well. They'll raise interest rates. In fact, the U.S. economy in the latest quarter, grew well over 3%. It's unbelievable. And consumer spending rose 3.9% as well. It's unbelievable. People are feeling good about the economy for whatever reason. Okay, read between the lines. As a result, they're spending more. And the real judge of how the market is going to do is January, when they report their Q4 numbers, meaning the 3 months ended December, which I think are going to be solid. Yeah. And also the way it works with the Federal Reserve is there's a bunch of governors that vote on, do we raise rates or not, or cut rates or not. And one of the board members dissented, meaning he did not agree. And that's why some people were a little bit worried in the markets, but I think it's just noise. Yeah. Just be a long-term investor always. All right, Sanjay, how are you? I wrote, "How are you?" I'm always great, thanks. And I hope you're doing well as well. Thank you. Okay. Moving on to Toomey, who wrote, "Congratulations on your 300th. Thank you." You wrote, "I just completed the complete business plan course of yours. Awesome and informative course." Thanks, Chris. Thank you. And I'm competing against myself because those courses on Udemy I made a long time ago. So whenever I look at them, I'm like, oh God, I gotta compete with myself and stay in shape so I can at least look young somehow. And then Omkar wrote, "At the age of 25, how should one look to career according to you?" Yeah. If you don't know what to do, just set up tons of informational meetings over LinkedIn with people who work in different careers and ask them what a day in the life is like. Whatever sounds fun to you, go for it. All Eyes on Media, new to the call. Thanks for joining. Wrote, "300s. Congratulations, sir." Thank you. "I've written 3 ebooks thanks to you and my friend Hoot Gibson. He is doing well. Awesome." Yeah, he's a hoot. Yeah, no. Thank you for that. And I want everybody to write a book, okay? And it's so easy to do. I'm going to give you the template in about 20 seconds. If you go to an interview and you say, "Here's a book I wrote," it's probably going to help your chance of getting hired, right? Who does that? If you don't want to do it, ask yourself, how badly do you want that job? Okay, 20 seconds have passed. Let me show you how to write a book. Okay, so I wrote my first book. It's called 101 Crucial Lessons They Don't Teach You in Business School. I think it was in 2014 or 15. Forbes called it one of 6 books everyone needs to read right now. All entrepreneurs need to read. And it's self-published, and I don't want any publisher to ever touch it. Costs me nothing to do. So go to this website, harounmba.com. It's all the same. /write-book. Okay, all lowercase. You see that? Write-book. Then what you're going to do is, all you have to do is download this template here. I don't ask for your email or nothing. If my mom's listening, she's saying, "Christopher, anything." And there's one page of instructions. And this one page of instruction tells you how to publish for free on Kindle, Amazon Print, and on Audible at a website called ACX. If you want to get somebody to design the book cover, please use this person here. She is in Bangladesh. She's done all my books. She's wonderful. Tip her well, please. Yeah. And then you put the image here. Then what you do is you dedicate it to your parents or anybody. Then you write the whole book. And then you right-click here and you repaginate. That's it. It's that simple. And you can publish it on Amazon. And the great thing is, again, it costs you nothing. And you don't have to deal with a publisher that's going to own your IP. And what you can also do, I would use that as your manuscript for your business. You're going to start, okay? So what I did was back in 2013 and 14. I worked in venture capital. And I wrote 1 article every week. That's about 100 articles over 2 years. And the articles on LinkedIn that got the most likes, controversial comments, tastefully though, etc., were the first articles I put into this book. I repurposed everything. And then these chapters, most of them have become courses. And all of them are part of my MBA program as well. So as Gary Vaynerchuk, who's a great social media icon on the East Coast, he says you want to repurpose content. You want to create micro content. And that way you can work smarter and not harder. And many of you will notice that have been following me for over 6 years or so since I've been doing these webcasts. You'll notice that a lot of my vlogs that are released and TikToks, etc., are based on questions my students have asked on this call. So there's nothing left in this weekly webcast carcass by the time I'm done with it. And that way I can work smarter and not harder. Now, when it comes to repurposing content, it's something that Nintendo pioneered. Nintendo is the oldest tech company in history. And what Nintendo has done forever is they've created products which are great. They don't discount them, which is genius, right? Hardly ever. And what they do is they repurpose the older content on new platforms. Like the old 8-bit, 16-bit, 64-bit, Mario games. They're released on, the Wii, Wii U, GameCube, Switch 2, etc. Yeah, repurpose content. Work smarter and not harder by repurposing stuff like I do. And that can be the strategy for your book as well. Again, you can download that from my website. If anybody wants the web address again, just let me know. Thanks. All right. And I want you all to be thought as a thought leader. Like whatever sector it is you're passionate about, I want you to write about it on LinkedIn a lot. Because after a while, you fake it till you make it. A thought leader is somebody that thinks themselves as a thought leader. And people will come to you and see you as the expert in that area. Yeah. Okay. And for anybody that has your own business, I'm going to tell you an easy way to get sales, right? Really, really simple. Okay. So I'll show you what I do. So on my LinkedIn profile, right, what I do is I have services, view my services. It's so easy to add this. It took me 90 seconds to make this page. There's nothing on it. Services provided, all this stuff here. And for corporate training, I make 25 to 30K a day. It's unbelievable. It's crazy. Yeah, but I don't like doing it. I like helping individuals because they're way too politically correct and all that stuff. I can't even mention that I'm a capitalist when I present sometimes. But anyway, just go to view my services. It's pretty easy. I've lost 10 viewers there, so I'm going to go back now. Okay. All right. All right. Next question is Phil. Oh my God, Phil Germany from Cleveland, Ohio. You work at Raytheon. You were my first student to ever write a book with my template. Search Amazon, everybody. Phil Germany. It's called Super Students, his book. It's not about teaching. It's about chess, but how prophetic. Yeah. And then Phil, who's been with me for years, and graduated from my platinum program a couple of years ago, wrote, "Congrats on 300. Thank you. I started watching you at 23, 24. Thanks." And I thought about putting up a big 300, thing where you one of those guys on in the movies and stuff, but I'm not as big as them. But I am putting on 20 pounds of muscle, as I mentioned several weeks ago. I put on about 5 pounds so far. I got 15 to go by June. Yeah. And I do have it's a 6-pack. A couple weeks ago, I had a 1-pack, a Molson Muscle. All right. Amkar wrote, "Congratulations on your 300th weekly live webcast. Merry Christmas, sir, from India. Merry Christmas to you too, brother. Thank you." All right. And 11% of my viewers are from India, which is great. I love India. Biggest democracy in the world. Most important friend of America in the long run. Nishant wrote, "Hey, sir, congratulations on your 300th weekly office hours. Thank you. I did not understand the price to book part. Can you tell me how to interpret it and what business sectors we look for price to book?" Yeah. So for the rest of your life, I want you guys to think of formulas as having the number 1 on the denominator. Let me kick it off with PE. So the price to earnings ratio, always assume the denominator is number 1. So if a company has a PE of 10, that means that investors are paying 10 times that $1. So if a company is growing really fast, they'll pay 20 times that $1, for example. When it comes to price to book, it's a similar thing, except if the company is liquidated, that's the book value of the firm. So if a company is trading at a price to book of 0.5, that means for every $1 in value in the company, investors are only paying 50 cents. So that company is worth more dead than alive. A private equity firm or an activist investor will probably dismantle it and sell off the pieces. And if you want to learn more about private equity by watching a movie, watch a movie called Other People's Money with Danny DeVito. It's an oldie but a goodie. Yeah. And Warren Buffett loves to look at price to book, amongst other things. And Warren Buffett guest lectured in my class when I was at Columbia 8 million years ago. And it's one of the most important metrics that he looks at. And generally speaking, value investors like Mr. Buffett love to look at a company, usually when the price to book is 1 or below, as long as there's no material issues like lawsuits, etc. Okay, next up, Manas. How are you? Manas from Calcutta, the home of Mother Teresa, my favorite person in the world. Manas wrote, Merry Christmas, and how dare I not say that ever. 300 for the legend, the myth, and the mentor, Master of Vault. Thank you. You wrote, the owner of the house of Habibi. Yeah, thank you. God bless you. And you wrote here, you've watched 228 of my 300 webcasts. Thank you for your support. I'm looking forward to seeing you as well in about an hour on the weekly Zoom call. Yeah, thank you. God bless you. I love you. Moving on to Mustafa, who wrote, hey, Chris, I have a few questions. Sure, I wanted to ask. What was the most challenging obstacle you faced when starting out, and how did you overcome it? Yeah, I'd say confidence. You know, when I got a job at Goldman Sachs in my 20s, I thought they made a mistake. Like I killed myself working for the interviews, right? I was so nervous. When I started in the associate program, I was so scared. Like there's all these, Harvard, Ivy League, Stanford grads, whatever, in our program. We had like 100 people, including Kwame, who won The Apprentice Season 2. I was so nervous because I thought if I say something, they're going to know I'm dumb. But if I say nothing, they're just going to think I'm dumb. So it was confidence. And what killed my confidence, and the reason I teach, what killed my confidence was when I was in the 6th grade and the 8th grade, I had very condescending teachers. And they wanted to fail me. And I was sent to a learning disability center in Oakville, Ontario, for those of you from Oakville, Ontario, on Lakeshore, called Chisholm, to test if I had a learning disability. It turns out, maybe I did. They said no. But it turns out that I just wasn't passionate about what I was doing. And the reason I teach is because I want to build up my students' confidence. With confidence, you can do anything in life, right? And with confidence, you could sell something boring like cloud computing and make it sound awesome. With confidence, you can achieve anything in life. And that's what I do. It is my hope to build confidence in my students so they can put their dent in the universe, start companies, get better jobs, etc. So I would say confidence was my biggest issue. And it's interesting because there's a book by Malcolm Gladwell called Outliers. Malcolm Gladwell's from Toronto. And he talks about how, actually, no, it's called David and Goliath. It's not a religious thing. He talks about people that have had certain things happen to them earlier in life or diagnosed with certain things. They're more successful. I'm not more successful. But a lot of people that have been diagnosed with dyslexia and other things, ADHD maybe, they're more successful because they have a chip on their shoulder. And they want to prove the world wrong. And I'll give you a great example of this. So there's the best venture capital firm on the planet is called Sequoia. And the most senior partner there is a guy called Doug Leone. And at a venture capital firm I was at years ago, our firm led the B round, Sequoia led the A round. And so I spent a bunch of time at Sequoia's offices here close to Shallow Alto, right? Menlo Park. And I actually got an opportunity to sit down with Doug Leone one-on-one. He's a rock star. And it was an 1.5 hour meeting. And I asked Doug, I said, Doug, the top 10 VC firms in the world have 1% of their investments as unicorns, meaning billion-dollar companies. You at Sequoia have 5%. How do you do it? What is the secret? And I'm going to butcher what he said because he speaks much gooder than me. But he said something along the lines of, you look at the management team first, always. And we like to invest in people and hire people that had something happen to them earlier in life. We don't know what it is. Something happened and they feel they're not good enough. They have a chip on their shoulder. And these are the best people to hire and invest in. They're the best people to invest in because they're not going to sell their company for $1 million or $2 million. Heck, they're not going to sell their company for $100 billion. They want to put a dent in the universe. For example, Elon Musk. For him, he had the crap kicked out of him when he was a kid. It was ridiculous, right? For being a little bit different. So he wants to prove the world wrong. So those are the types of people you want to invest in. And to make a long story short, for me, I had confidence issues when I was younger, and I have this issue with teachers. I do. Because a lot of times they talk down to you. I want to build you up. And when I was a professor here in the San Francisco Bay Area, I taught during the evenings when I worked in venture capital. I learned something. I learned that American students, regardless of where they're born, and half my students were born overseas, but American students are number one in the most important economic category that nobody talks about, which is confidence. And with confidence, you can sell yourself. Confidence leads to perceived competence. American students, regardless of where they're born, they can sell. And you got to sell passionately with your heart and not give a damn what anybody thinks of you either. Okay, let me move on to the next question. Okay, next up, Janice wrote, Merry Christmas, Chris. Merry Christmas to you too and your family. I started a new remote-only job this month, and I'm seeing my colleagues for the first time in person soon for a sales kickoff event in the United States. Do you have any tips for me? Yeah, I do. The best way to bond with people is to obviously listen to that book by Dale Carnegie first, okay? How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's your manuscript for how to conduct these meetings. You want to ask people about themselves as well. You can do research as well before the meetings. And as Sun Tzu wrote in The Art of War, every battle is won before it's been fought. What do I mean by that? Well, you can go to their X profile and their Instagram profile and see who they follow. If they follow baseball players and you're a baseball fan, I don't know, you can talk about that with them, right? Just find a way to get onto that subject with them without letting them know that you were stalking them and looking at their profile. Yeah. People decide on whether or not they're going to like you, usually in the first 30 seconds when you meet them. So, a firm handshake, pleasure to meet you. Eye contact always. Pleasure to meet you. Ask them questions about themselves. Learn. And when I worked at Goldman years ago, I did events like that. And when I got home that night, I would always write down everything I learned about everybody so I could always remember it and bring it up with them later. Yeah. And the best salespeople in the world, they're great at remembering names, etc. Anyway, I can go into a lot more detail about that. Yeah. Okay. And if you're not sure what to wear, just wear what they wore in the webcast. And for those of you out there doing an informational meeting or an interview, if you don't know what to wear, just look at what they're wearing on their LinkedIn profile or their website. Yeah. Okay. Manas from Calcutta wrote, please enable the green screen. Looks so cool. Yeah, absolutely. Let me choose. Let's do my home office one. It never looks perfect, right? I'll do this guy. I like this one. Hold on. There we go. Okay, cool. All right. And I use Gaussian blur in Photoshop to make it blurry a bit. Yeah. That was me showing off that I know what Gaussian means. If I'm pronouncing it right, I don't know. All right, next question is from Luik, who wrote, what are your thoughts on London versus New York as a financial hub to work as a young graduate? Also Luxembourg, if you have any information. Thanks. Yeah. So I don't have any information on Luxembourg, but in terms of New York or London, if your focus is on international investments, I'd choose London. Okay. If your focus is just on mega caps in the United States, I'd pick New York. It's that simple. Yeah, and in London, you'll probably be in Canary Wharf. Just make sure you network like crazy, as I explained in my MBA program. Yeah. And every time you see a job opening, for those of you that want to get a new job, every time you see a job opening, you have a 1 in 250 chance of getting that job. The person that gets hired knows somebody at the company. And the only way to know somebody at the company is to network aggressively, as I mentioned on this book, you can get for free on my website. Or just take my MBA degree program. Or I'm happy to mentor you guys one-on-one. Just check out my diamond program on my website. Yeah. Okay. All right. Moving on to Mustafa, who wrote, I also want to ask one more question. Ask as many as you want. I'm always here for you forever. What are some of your habits that have contributed the most to your success? Thank you for your valuable time. Yeah. Maybe insecurity. I work harder than anybody. Right. I'll show you. Okay. I'm going to show you the number one tip. All right. This is cray cray. And I don't care what you think, but this is going to be messy here. All right. So what I do that helps a lot is exercise. If you treat this right, this works gooder. So what I do is I get 20,000 steps usually at a minimum every single day. So I have a desk that goes up, as you can see here, and I take notes, or I work while I'm doing this. Some of my meetings I even walk at a slow pace. But if I walk at this pace all day long, like this, see here, it's not that bad. That equals 30,000 steps. That means your net caloric intake is like negative 1,000 for the day. Yeah, so that's number one. Number two, what I do, that rhymes, what I also do is you are what you eat. So it's really important for you to consume the right foods. So what I do, and let me just turn off this walker here. What I do is I try to consume this much vodka every day, water every day. And you can get this on Amazon. It's got this the times right here as well. You gotta take in a lot of water always. Another thing I do is every morning I have a bulletproof coffee. It's my first thing I consume every day. And the bulletproof coffee, it's got something called MCT oil in it, which is like coconut oil. Be careful. Talk to your doctor first because it hurts your stomach if you do too much. What's also in this, and I prepare it the night before, so it's always ready for me at 7 a.m. or whatever it is I get up. What's also in this is collagen, special protein for my joints and also for my hair. My hair has actually been growing back because I'm doing a Nutrisol. It's a special powder thing I do in here. I put also in here a scoop of whey protein. I put also mushroom extract powder. I put super EFA oil in as well, a little bit. And also I put in, this is where it gets out there, I put in a tablespoon of grass-fed butter. I don't put milk in, right? So it kind of tastes like that's milk. And for hundreds of years, people have been putting butter in their coffee or their tea. And it gives you this astounding cerebral ability to focus and get tons more stuff done. It's kind of like that movie Limitless with Bradley Cooper. You know, it's like a legal substance, though, that will make you more productive. And I combine that with walking as well. And I never overeat because that will tire you out. In terms of my diet, I like to drink my food. It's just easier for me to work at the same time. So I usually have, a probiotic drink like this, my next meal. I'm bulking up a bit, I'm trying, so I do protein as well. And then I've told you guys how I blend my smoothies on previous webcasts as well. And I take lots of vitamins and herbs as well, okay? And I put them in my pocket here, okay? And yeah, I got them from Ray Kurzweil. He's the vice president of engineering, head of engineering at Google. And he has a lot of life extension drugs, not drugs, vitamins that he takes. Like resveratrol, which is found in red wine. I don't drink anymore, but I'm not drinking less. That sort of thing. Yeah. And I can talk forever about this stuff, but this works exceptionally well. Another thing I've learned over the years is that please take one day off a week. There's so many great religions that thousands of years ago, they mandated one of their 10 rules is take, Friday off, Saturday off, Sunday off, whatever, one day. You need that. That's an investment in yourself. I promise you, you'll be better off. Also, another thing I recommend is to have a daily schedule. If you want to get something done, give it to a busy person, right? There's a reason when you're on vacation or you're not working, you didn't find time to work out. You want to get something done, give it to a busy person. So what you do is you are going to schedule each day. And in my MBA program, do I have this open? I think I do. Give me 1 second to pull it up. Here it is here. Yeah. So every single day, and I give you this template here, what you do is you're going to write what you're going to accomplish the next day, and then you're going to score yourself. And for those in my MBA program, it's the second lecture, the first personal growth class in the MBA program. This stuff works, I promise you. Okay, let's do GTA mode now. Okay. All right, give me 1 second. Okay, and then Manas wrote, your real estate course is the best ever made. Thank you. And I'll say that forever. Almost done. Thank you so much. You're more than welcome. Thank you for saying that as well. Yeah, it's exclusively available on my website. I had so much fun making it. Yeah. And a lot of people are asking me, when am I going to start making the billions videos again? I am going to start. I'll start up again in January. Yeah. The next video I'm making for my YouTube channel, though, is Wall Street Part 2, Money Never Sleeps, with Michael Douglas. And did you know that Donald Trump is in it? There's a deleted scene, which I'm going to talk about at the beginning of that video, so I can get more clicks. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up, Mac wrote, hey, Chris, what is the name of the course that's coming out in January? Thank you. Yeah. So I haven't come up with a name yet for it. It'll probably be something along the lines of AI financial analysis, something like that, or forensic accounting. Yeah, and I partner with Gary, one of my great platinum students, graduated a couple of years ago. He's a CPA and a former investment banker, etc. Yeah. Okay. I got to remember to bring on our guests later today. Whenever I have something to remember, I turn my watch around. So when I look at the time, I'm like, what the hell? So I'm going to bring on my 6 guest stars very, very soon, okay, to special guests to this interview. Okay. All right. The problem is, if you have to remember 2 things, you're like, WTF, why the face? All right, moving on to, what's the best and worst VC decision you've ever made? How much impact has it had on you, if any? Yeah. So most investments from a venture capital perspective go to zero. All you need is one company and a fund to do extraordinarily well, and you make a killing, right? So yeah, I've had ones that have gone to zero. There's other ones that have done quite well. One is Nimble Storage, went public. I think it was in 2014 or 15. I sold the whole thing 6 months after the lockup date. That worked out well. Another one was Palantir. That was in the fund. I'm not an investor now. That one worked out well. Yeah. And I can talk about that in more detail and a couple others if you want me to. Yeah. Okay. Oh, and of course, Facebook as well. So in my fund years ago, I had a position in Facebook along with every other venture capital firm. Yeah. Okay. And then Manas wrote the Steve Jobs book by Walter Isaacson. Yeah, is fantastic. I'm on chapter 24. Yeah, it's a great book. I love it. Yeah. Yeah. And then AADI wrote, bro always bullies ALEXA. Yeah, I do. And the weird thing is, like, I don't say please. I just say be quiet, ALEXA. My kids, actually, one of my boys at Berkeley, he said, Dad, you can't do that. I was like, why? It's not a real person. He's like, but one day these things are going to be sentient. You can't do that. Yeah. Yes, I can. I will. Yeah. That's when the woke mind virus goes too far. That's right. I said it. Okay. Okay. Next question is from Manas. Imagine you're 22 years old again, which you're already, and you're good at 5 things, maybe finance, tech, business, banking, something else. What would your first venture be and why? Yeah. For me, I mean, I did follow my passion, which was tech. I worked at, Accenture, great consulting firm. I was a programmer. I loved it. But I would probably gone back in time and told myself, Chris, stop trying to think about what other people think of you, because they're not. And that's a waste of time. And the most important chart in the world, it's going to be hard for me to visualize, but I'm going to show you anyway. Okay. This is life-changing. Here's a chart. On the x-axis here is your age. Okay, just visualize this. It's your age. And on the y-axis here is give a damn. When you're younger, you're down here in the yellow. You don't care what people think of you. You have meltdowns at a restaurant. You just don't care. When you're older, over here in the red, you don't care what people think of you. Old people don't have confidence problems. The problem is when you're in your teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, you're up here. Recall, age, give a damn. You're up here. You care what people think. That is a deadly place to live. Okay? And I call this the triangle of despair. And you got to avoid this at all costs. You got to live at this level here, always, very low level, and not give a fuck. That's right. what people think of you. I rarely swear, but I do it for effect because I want you to remember and I love you and I want you to care. You live at this level here, okay? You don't care what people think of you. You know, like all the best entrepreneurs in the world, they don't care. And if you focus on not giving a damn what people think of you, you can focus on your happiness and putting your dent in the universe as well. Successful people live at this level. Now, how do you get there? It's pretty simple. Time for an exercise. Everybody get a piece of paper and a pen right now, please. And this exercise we're going to do together is going to change your life. Okay, we're going to do it together. I promise you, it'll change your life if you let me help you. But before we do the exercise, I have to interview my 6 special guests. And yeah, I've got breaking news. Okay, so here's my 6 special guests. I'll be right back with that life-changing exercise. Thank you. Hello, my name is Bob Burgundy from Haroun News Network, that's HNN, and I've got breaking news for you. It looks like technology behemoth Apple is trying to buy Nintendo. Breaking news, breaking news. I don't know if the deal will go through. I have to ask a number of our strategic advisors here to help us out to find out if this deal, in fact, will go through. And so the first strategic advisor that I want to ask is an expert in economics management and strategy. He works at a consulting firm called McKinsey, and his name is Chip Patterson. Chip, what are your thoughts? Yes, thank you, Bob, for that introduction. This is an extraordinary deal, and I think it might make sense, but I'm not really sure yet. And so here at McKinsey & Company, we pride ourselves in advising the most incredible companies and government agencies in the world. And so by the end of this MBA degree program, my fellow classmates here will help me to analyze if this extraordinary deal makes a lot of sense or not. Thank you, and cheerio. Thank you, Chip. The next expert we're going to ask is a finance and accounting expert who works at an investment bank called MHS, Morgan Haroun Sachs. His name is Gordon Lizard. Gordon, what are your thoughts on this deal? Thanks, Bob. I really appreciate it, So here at Morgan Haroun Sachs, MHS actually, we're going to do a really deep dive to understand the financial statements of, Nintendo and Apple. And I pride myself on being an amazing investment banker. And we're actually going to have a lot of my fellow students here during the Haroun Education Ventures MBA degree program help me to build out the financials. And don't worry, I know a lot of us don't understand how finance and accounting works, but we will by the end of this MBA degree program. In fact, here's what we're going to do, We're going to figure it all out together. We're going to create the financial model, meaning the income statement, balance sheet, cash flow statement, etc., for Nintendo as well as for Apple. And it's a bit complicated because Nintendo's an international company, and so their financial statements are a little bit different from Apple, but we're going to figure it out, and then what we're going to do is we're actually going to value the company using discounted cash flow, as well as price earnings multiple, price to revenue, and other metrics as well. And so that by the end of this MBA degree program, we will know how much Apple should potentially pay for Nintendo. Thanks, Bob. Back to you. Thank you, Gordon. Our next expert is somebody that knows a lot about sales, marketing, and communication, and his name is Stephen Ive. Stephen, you work at Apple. What are your thoughts on this deal?
Thank you, Bob. I appreciate it. Thanks. It's going to be important for me to convince our board and shareholders to approve of the deal. And I'm not much of a presenter, but I know that a lot of my fellow students here in the Haroun Education Ventures MBA degree program are going to be able to help me to learn how to present much better in the SMC classes, that's sales, marketing, and communication classes, so that they'll give me advice, and together we'll be able to learn how to present to the board of Apple and the shareholders to convince them to the deal makes sense or if it doesn't. Thank you, Bob. Back to you.
Thank you, Stephen. Our next expert is an entrepreneurship expert named Tony Shark. Now, Tony was about to sign an exclusive contract with Apple for his virtual reality goggles and his company, Shark Virtual Reality. Tony, is this deal still going through for you, or because Nintendo has a great VR product, does Apple no longer need you, Tony? And what are you going to do about this?
Yeah, thanks, Bob. So I was supposed to sign this exclusive contract with Apple for my Shark virtual reality goggles. I think our product is a lot better than Nintendo's. And in the entrepreneurship track of this MBA degree program, my fellow students and I are going to work on a way to sell this product to Apple. And so this product's amazing. There's a hardware component to it, which has low margins. And then there's a software component to it with media, which is where you stream it, and it's really high margins. We got a great product here, much better than anybody else in the market. And so, last thing I'll say, Bob, and thanks again for having me on your show, is that by the end of this MBA degree program, my fellow classmates and I will be armed with this, and we'll have what it takes to be able to succeed in business and take our careers to the next level. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Our next guest is somebody off the street here, a random person I just met whose goal is to work at Apple. I want to ask you, from a personal growth perspective, how do you think you can get a job at Apple? So this guy's name here is Joe Jobs. How are you going to get that job?
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show, Bob. I really appreciate it. So my dream has always been to work at Apple, and I think I got what it takes. And I know that my fellow classmates and I in this Haroun Education Ventures MBA degree program, in the personal growth classes, we're going to learn just a ton so that we can all get the job of our dreams. We'll learn how to interview and all that stuff. But I'm looking forward to getting a lot of help from my fellow classmates so that we can get that dream job. I think I got what it takes. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, Joe. Well, there you have it. We talked to 5 experts who are going to help us understand how this deal is structured, if this deal will go through and whatnot. And by the end of this Haroun Education Ventures MBA degree program, you will all be armed with enough skills to understand from 5 different perspectives whether or not this deal makes sense. And those 5 perspectives are as follows: economics management and strategy, sales, marketing and communication, entrepreneurship, personal growth, and finance and accounting. I'm Bob Burgundy signing out here from Haroun News Network's HNN.
All right, thank you for humoring me, my awful dad humor. Now let's do this exercise together, this life-changing exercise. You ready? Okay. Everybody, please take this seriously. Everybody, please get a pen and a piece of paper, okay? Or open up your iPhone, handset, Android, whatever it is. You ready? Here we go. This exercise is simple. I want you to answer the following 10 questions. It's easy. Question number 1, and they're all similar. You're going to write this: I don't care what people think of X. Fill in the blank. Okay? I don't care what people think of X. Right? And that could be the way you dress, my awful fake hair dye, although my hair is growing back with Nutrisol. It's working out. Question number 2. It's the same thing. I don't care what people think about X. It's the same question. So it could be something like, I don't know, my ginormous nose, which is aerodynamic, or I don't care what people think of, my career decisions, or how much money I make, or whatever it is, or the crappy car I drive. I just don't care. Do that 10 times, please. I don't care what people think about X. Okay. And it's the subtle art of not giving a darn what people think of you. And if you take that seriously, you will realize an awesome level of happiness you never thought you'd realize in life. The type of happiness that's almost as good as when you hold your child for the first time. You're like, oh my God, I love you so much. Oh, that's why I'm here. Oh, it all makes sense. That's your New Year's resolutions. Not giving a damn what anybody thinks of you. I promise you this works.
You become less insecure. You get better at asking people out on a date because confidence leads to perceived competence. You get better at interviewing as well because you don't care. In fact, before your interviews and your next presentation, you got to tell yourself this: I don't care how this presentation goes, or I don't care how this interview goes. I'm not telling you to be rude or disingenuous, but I'm telling you to stop focusing on what people think of you. You know, as Les Brown said, somebody else's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. I don't care. Do a search on TikTok for Ricky Gervais. I don't care. You'll see. Yeah. Which is probably the funniest TikTok I've ever seen. All right. Let me now move on to the next question here. Okay, so Jordan wrote, hi, Chris, and congratulations on your 300th live office hour. Thank you. Quick question. If you want to choose a side project, would you be either a YouTuber or a blogger? Definitely a YouTuber. Definitely a YouTuber. You know, it's like nobody reads long articles anymore. Nobody reads long books or 5,000-word editorials from woke publications like Vanity Fair. That's right, I said it. I love videos. It's more fun this way. Yeah. Okay. All right. Plus, you can't make money from writing, right? YouTube is the only gold rush in history that costs you nothing to make the product. And YouTube is also the only gold rush in history where you can get access to 1 billion potential customers immediately for free. Yeah. You just got to be consistent, okay, with YouTube. Like me, I'm on week 300. I'm consistently bad, but I'm consistent. You want to publish your videos the exact same time, every week or every month or whatever it is. Be consistent. Read the comments. Let the market help you. The market will guide you. It costs you nothing. So for me, for example, when I started doing these things, I thought all people wanted to learn from me is, you know, teaching, you know, finance, balance sheets and all that stuff. And then what happened was in the comments, people were like, Chris, I kind of like your personal growth stuff every now and then too. I was like, okay, screw it. Let's do it, as Sir Richard Branson said. And I started making personal growth stuff as well. And the market will guide you in real time. Don't strive for perfection and don't worry about being perfect. I want you all to please start your YouTube channels right in January. Okay, that's your New Year's resolution. In January, you're going to publish every week. And I'm here to help you do it. If you're in one of my programs, I can teach you how to do editing the videos, which I do myself as well. All my billions of videos I record and edit myself. It's so much fun. And you have to start making your YouTube content or TikTok content or Insta content, whatever, fast. And the reason is because if you don't do it in the next 3 to 5 years, you'll be irrelevant. And I say it with love in my heart, and here's why. In 3 to 5 years, AGI will be a reality, meaning artificial general intelligence. And what that means is this. What that means is we'll be using AI to actually create content. We'll be watching movies with people that don't exist, that are AI avatars, kind of like the great video game Detroit Become Human. We're going to be learning from YouTubers that don't exist. Or maybe somebody will license an older person that's no longer with us, like Frank Sinatra, whatever. Before that becomes a reality, you got to put yourself out there in the traffic and start creating your content. Do it now. And don't strive for perfection because you'll never reach it. Yeah. All right. All right, next up, here, give me 1 second, guys, sorry. And I read every comment, too. I never filter anything, so you know that, yeah. Fully transparent. All right, next up, Jim Culture wrote, and by the way, if you're ever losing your voice, before an interview or presentation, you could buy a product called Clear Voice. I feel like I'm on the Truman Show. All right. So Jim Culture wrote, is there a valuation level where it stops being a seed round and becomes a Series A? Or is seed where the angel investments invest? Yeah. So if the startup is self-funded by the entrepreneur, okay, and they don't raise money for the seed round, and let's say they have a product that's already generating revenue, which is rare for a tech company, they might be able to skip the seed stage or angel phase and go right to VC and hire money or raise money that way. Yeah. It's rare, but it can happen. Yeah. Okay. And then Manas wrote, you think Seeking Alpha is cool? I had a sponsorship with them. It lasted about a month. I think it's a great product idea, but I felt that by me mentioning it, I was biasing my students to start using their platform and not others. And Seeking Alpha there's a certain component to it that kind of tells you what stocks to buy. And I'm here to teach you how to fish. If I give you a fish, you'll eat for a day. If I teach you how to fish, you'll eat for a lifetime. So you can read between the lines there. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Adiposi wrote, hi, Chris and everyone. Hey, Adiposi, how are you? Adiposi is one of my students from Nigeria. He graduated from my platinum program a couple of years ago. You were in the Wednesday program. Like that was year 6, my 6th of 10 programs. He runs an architecture company and an online commerce company in Nigeria. His wife has an amazing company he co-founded with her called CEO, which are her initials. And it's a handbag company as well. He sells incredibly high quality handbags. And if you want Adiposi, list the name of your company so people can look it up here. Don't list the URL because YouTube will strip it out. Yeah. Yeah. And I want to profile one of the awesome bags you have on one of these weekly webcasts as well. She wrote, hey, Chris and everyone in class, I love the shirt and background. Thank you. Welcome to Day One, Not One Day. And I own this as well. So if you go to day1notoneday.com, any rendition of it, you'll see where it goes to. Yeah. Okay. Sanjay wrote, hey, Chris, happy 300th weekly live. Thank you so much for the birthday cakes as well. Surreal, eh? Okay. Jurgen wrote, dear Chris, congratulations on your 300th webcast, and thank you for this rich source of information. You're most welcome. Thank you, Jurgen. I appreciate it. God bless you. Thank you. Okay, question from Adiposi, which is, do you think the U.S. debt will someday catch up with the economy, especially as the dollar dominance globally is threatened? No. And the reason I say that is because every investment, every currency, every bond, it's all relative, right? If you think about it, every investment is relative. So the very last company to ever go belly up will be the U.S. economy. It's just all relative. So it'll never happen. And if anybody's going to do it, it'll be India one day. But the way it works is the United States has a monopoly, okay? They have a monopoly on money. The US dollar today looks the exact same as it did back in the 1930s, the 1934 note. It's identical. They don't have to innovate. If they're going to innovate, they're going to add some kind of cryptocurrency or secure protocol to it, which Trump is kind of doing. Okay, this is why you got the Trump bump with cryptos, with Bitcoin reaching 100 grand. He's a big Bitcoin bull. And on Truth Social, which I think is his social media platform, when Bitcoin hit $100, $100,000, he said, you're welcome. And the new head of the SEC, as appointed by Trump, is the co-head of the Cryptocurrency Lobbyist Union in DC. Yeah, so I'm not worried about that at all. I think, again, if any country is going to do it to dethrone the US dollar in the very long run, India, but nobody else. Yeah. Okay. All right. And the U.S. has always been set up since almost day one as a lender of last resorts. Right. So after World War II, when Europe was in shambles, firms like J.P. Morgan really took off in terms of, becoming the bankers for Europe. It's still, the most stable currency in the world. And yeah, America has a lot of problems. I get it. But when there's a shit show and the U.S. economy is not doing well, or the global economy is not doing well, the U.S. dollar strengthens because it's a flight to quality. Now, the U.S. dollar was initially based on silver, then it was based on gold, okay? And then in 1972, Richard Nixon, remember that guy? I'm not a criminal. He took the U.S. dollar off the gold standard, and it's now backed by the full faith and credit of the United States government. It's been there since 1972, 52 years ago, the year I was born, and it's still working today. Yeah. Okay. Next up, Manas wrote, do you think Tesla will beat Nvidia's market cap wise? And how is BYD going to work under Trump Chinese tariffs? What are your thoughts? Yeah. So BYD, I think they're in trouble because of tariffs. Yeah. And even in Canada, I think it was earlier this year, the Trudeau administration, what they did was they actually created 100% tariffs on Chinese imports of electric cars. Yeah. In terms of Tesla beating Nvidia's market cap, no, not in the near future. There's no way. The reason Tesla has had a nice bump recently is because of Elon Musk's obvious ties to the Republican Party, to Donald Trump. Yeah, and it was brilliant what Elon did in hindsight, but because, if Trump lost, Democrats are more environmentally friendly, which helps Tesla. And if Trump wins, which he did, it helps him. Obviously, he's tied to him as well. Yeah. I'm a fan of Elon. Yeah, especially when it comes to free speech. Yeah. Okay. I don't agree with everything he says, but I love freedom of speech. All right. Next up, Jonathan. I wrote, "Hey Chris, I hope all is well. Thank you. I've accepted a position as director of FP&A, accounting stuff, at a tech SaaS company, meaning software as a service, meaning renting software. Are there any classes you offer that will teach me about growing a SaaS business? God bless you. God bless you more, Jonathan. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. My MBA degree program. Yeah. So I would start off with the silver MBA degree program if you want. I've got a 30-day, 100% money back guarantee on everything I do. And I'll show you how to access that really quickly, and I'll move on to the next question. So just go to my website, okay, and then harounmba.com, and then scroll down, and you'll see the difference between all of them here. This one here, sign up for it's $99 a month, 30-day money back guarantee. If you want one-on-one consulting with me, you can consider this one. Book a call with me. I don't accept everybody to this though. Okay, my time is limited. Yeah, and I have thousands of people that have bought this, and it's going well. It helps, I promise you. Or your money back. All right, let me go back over here, and let's go to nothing in the background. Okay. I'll show you. Okay, let me show you quickly how I do this behind the scenes if you're curious. Okay. All right. So what I do is you just add green screen to it. Okay. So you go here, and let me remove a green screen and remove the LUT as well. Okay. All right. Now, you see here how my face doesn't look as nice, right? I need more color in my face. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a lookup table. Then I'm going to apply green screen. I'll do this fast. All right. So first thing I'll do is I'm going to apply a lookup table. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to go to add a filter. Okay, a LUT lookup table, which I designed in Final Cut. All right. And whenever you watch movies, like how they made the movies, you'll see a lot of times it looks like flat like this. Then you apply a filter. So I created this one here. It's too much. That's too much color in my face. Usually I go to 20%. So 0.2. Okay, good. Now we got the color right in my face. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add a green screen to it as well. So I'm going to add here green screen. Okay. Chroma key. And when you do this, you see how it defaults to green? You got to tell the product always what color. I can't do green because my eyes are green. You'll see right through me, which you probably should. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to grab the color blue. See if that works. Let me try that again. Okay, good. Yeah. So I grab the color blue right here. You see there? That's good enough. And then you can play around with these levers here a little bit as well to make it perfect. And you can crop as well. If you want to crop out certain things, let me uncrop that. And we've got ourselves a wonderful green screen here. Color's not perfect, as you can see. I have to play around with a bit more to get more blacks in there, but that's how we do it. Okay. All right. Next up, Sanjay wrote, how do you break into hedge funds and PE, meaning private equity, without an Ivy League degree? I'm pursuing an MBA in finance and considering a CAIA, but that requires 1 year experience. Any advice from me? I'm from India, where this industry is still growing. Yeah. You do not need an MBA or a master's degree at all. All you have to do is network. Had I known what I know now, I would not have gotten an MBA. When I remember I wanted to do an MBA because I called Morgan Stanley and I applied to them in New York City. I was living in Toronto, and I didn't get the job, and so I thought, oh, I have to get an MBA. Don't do it. I want you to network aggressively. That's how you get your job. And you can check out my MBA degree programs at my website if you want. That will help you tremendously, I promise, or your money back. Yeah. And I'm the only MBA program I know of that offers a money back guarantee. Yeah. So binge watch the whole damn thing, the Silver MBA, in 30 days. Get your money back. My return rate on Silver, Gold, Platinum is 1%. My return rate on my Diamond Growth Accelerator program, where I mentor you one-on-one for 20 hours, is 0%. Yeah. I don't have any customers in it. No, I'm just kidding. I have lots. Yeah. I'm actually almost at full capacity. Okay. Manaus wrote, Coinbase or Binance, which one would still be relevant in 10 years? I think both will be. I'm a bigger fan of Coinbase. Yeah, I have a long history of that company. I met with Fred Ursum a number of times in my office when I worked in venture capital. He was the co-founder. He was a confident trader, from Goldman Sachs. He's no longer with the company, but I understand that business model a lot better. And I still use Coinbase, but I just use it like it's a checking account whenever I want to transact in cryptos. Your savings account is where you keep most of your money, which is on your cold storage wallet, or you keep it in an ETF, which I think is better. Yeah. Okay, moving on to Jurgen, who wrote, I'm a frugal person. Cool. I can pick up a cent from the street. Awesome. And my grandfather used to always say to me, God bless him, in Canada, we have the queen on one side of the money, right? He used to say this. He used to say, son, I can squeeze a nickel so tight, I can make the queen's nose bleed. Yeah, he was cheap. Yeah. And by the way, if anybody works for somebody that's cheap and they give you a crappy year-end bonus, and it's your first bonus from them, quit. Because one data point makes a trend. There's a reason why they're successful. Yeah, and start your own company. So your question is, I have a hard time mentally coping with my investments to lose money. How can I work on the mindset to reduce stress on investment decisions? That's great questions. So what you got to do is think very long term. Okay, as Warren Buffett said, the longer the view, the wiser the intention. When Warren Buffett buys a stock, like when he bought Coca-Cola back around 1990, he always tells himself, after I buy this stock, I'm assuming the market's going to be closed for at least 10 years. I want you to have the same mentality. And if you don't believe me that this works, I want you to look at the stock price of any ETF you've ever bought or stock that you've liked over decades and take a look at it. It looks like this, okay? And maybe a little pullback right here was because of, I don't know, some little market shock. And maybe you sold then. You made the cardinal sin of selling it because it's cheaper. And today it's higher. And you're kicking yourself because of it. When I say you, I'm talking about me, all of us on this webcast. Buy and hold. Always. Okay? And what you can do is you can have money taken out of your paycheck every 2 weeks and put directly into your retirement savings account. And you can buy, your favorite ETF if you don't have time to pick stocks, like the VOO, ticker VOO, which is the S&P 500. I promise you the S&P will not be up every year, but I promise you it'll be up an average of 15 to 20% per year over the next couple of decades. Why? 2 reasons. Number one, AI. Okay? AI expenses. What does that mean? Companies are using AI to cut expenses materially to hire fewer people. That drops right to the bottom line. So what that looks like is this for all companies, okay? So companies have 3 main expense line items, okay? This is revenue, this is earnings here, okay? And the bottom line, it's called the bottom line because it's the bottom line of the income statement. When people say, what's your top line growth, that's revenue. So right here, sales and marketing. A lot of this AI can do right now, right? For example, copywriting. You don't really need to hire as many marketing people. You can use ChatGPT for copywriting, okay? R&D, you'll be able to use AI products to help you with this as well and fewer people, okay? Faster innovation. G&A is miscellaneous expenses, customer support, gone. And for example, on my website, learn.harounventures.com, my customer support and chat is done using a $20 bot that I trained on all of my SRT files, meaning closed caption files. Right, so gone. So that's reason number one, right? So these expenses, and I'm going to exaggerate here, but let's say that these expenses are gone. Okay. Now, your net income goes up a lot. The second reason is revenue growth is going to accelerate for a lot of companies because they're going to start using AI in order to generate more revenue. So for example, with me, I've already cut expenses materially. I don't have any employees, never will. I outsource everything. I've cut expenses materially using AI and process automation in terms of growing revenue for me longer term. So I'm working with a prominent Bay Area company. I can't disclose what it is because I'm under an NDA. And what they've done is they create an AI version of me to be able to teach my courses in different languages. And you can't tell it's not me. It's scary. And I've had a conversation with me as well. Yeah. So anyway, those are two reasons. All right. And I don't have that much time left, guys. But if you want, what you can do, if you're my silver MBA degree program, per the link down here, you can we'll do our weekly 1 hour Zoom call. Okay. All right. Okay. H10 wrote, hey, Chris, if I'm not in the United States and completely new to business, which course do you recommend for me? Yeah, I would check out my silver MBA degree program at the link you see below. Everything I teach is global in nature. And I think about it that way because it's a bigger total addressable market. And I have work experience in a lot of different countries. Now, I'll give you an example of this. Okay, so for my complete real estate course, which is an elective in my MBA degree program, what you do is you start out by selecting your country and the city. So this is London, Ontario, Canada, for example. Everything I teach is available and applicable to every country on the planet. Everything I do. And that's why I have, humbly, 2 million customers in every single country in the world. Okay. Next up, Salman wrote, hey, Chris, how are you doing? I'm always great, thank you. I hope you're doing well. Enjoying my coffee. I go to bed sometimes at night, and I can't wait to wake up to have my coffee. Yeah, it's my vice. I don't drink. I don't smoke unless I'm on fire. And I don't do drugs. This is my vice. 1 per day. Okay. All right. Next up, Manos wrote, do you think in the next decade, what is more important for new companies out there? ICOs or IPOs? Yeah. And so for those of you not familiar with ICOs, it's like an IPO, except for a cryptocurrency. I would say IPOs. And the reason I say that is right now, 99%, I'm a crypto bull, right? I've owned Bitcoin forever. But 99% of all cryptocurrencies are an absolute scam. There are more cryptocurrencies than there are fiat, meaning paper-based currencies in the world today. Yeah. So I would always bet on IPOs. Unless there's some kind of strategic shift to companies leveraging the blockchain to go public that way, then it's ICPO or something combined. Yeah. Okay. Mustafa wrote, thanks for the lovely advice, Chris, about Compass. You're most welcome. I say with love my heart as always. You wrote, I currently suffer with social anxiety, so I can relate with you about your initial struggles. However, I'm trying to improve on that. God bless. Thank you. And God bless you more. God bless you more. And if you're dealing with social anxiety, what I want you to do right now is this, please. Okay. All right. And I was advised by my parents not to release this video, but I'm showing you anyway. So all you do is go to my YouTube platform and then click here on videos. Give me 1 second, guys. I want to make sure this is working because I promise this will help you. Click here on videos, okay? Then I want you to watch this video right here, okay? It's called How to Stop Worrying. And this is actually an excerpt from my MBA degree program, okay? It will tell you how to stop worrying. I promise you, it'll help you materially. And when you watch it, you might come to the conclusion, now I understand why Chris's parents said don't release it. But I don't care. I just want to help you. Alexa, kindly be quiet. Yeah. And I say kindly because somebody earlier on said I was quite rude to Alexa. Yeah. Which I am. Okay, give me 1 second. I do have to wrap up this call in a second, guys. Again, for those of you, my silver MBA degree program, go to that link there for our weekly Zoom call. And also for the message you see below. The next 2 weeks, there's no weekly office hours because I'm going to be on vacation. Yeah. Okay. All right. Next up, Jonathan wrote, I also want to thank you. This new director role is directly related to your book that I read. Awesome. I learned so much and thought about your teachings when this opportunity came up, and I seized it. Awesome. That makes me happy. If I can change one person's life, then the whole year made sense, what I did. Thank you. Thank you. And you did it for free, too. You didn't have to buy any of my courses. You just downloaded my book here. So I saved you money. Okay, next up, Dane. And yeah, I'm going to wrap this up in a second here, and then we're going to move on to our silver call. Next up, Dane wrote, I love your office hour sessions. Thank you, Dane. You just get better and better. Thank you. God bless you. And you wrote, be ashamed to, I love the quotes, be ashamed to die before you do something great for humanity, from my good Uncle Robert, who you quoted a couple times before, and I love this. Thank you. And you've already earned that prize. Thank you for all you do. I appreciate that. Thank you. I love quotes. And for those of you who, your grandparents or older uncles or aunts are still around, ask them for quotes. I love quotes. And always share them with me. And if you're ever losing motivation, what I want you to do is this. It's real easy. Do a search on motivational quotes. Read 10 of them. You'll be motivated. You'll have more energy. You'll feel better about yourself, and you'll be happier. Yeah. And remember, somebody else's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. Okay, cool. All right, and I see that there's a lot more questions here. I apologize, I can't answer them. For those of you, my silver MBA degree program, I'll see you in a couple of minutes for our 1 hour weekly Zoom call. And for those of you, my gold, platinum, and diamond programs, we have a 3 hour weekly Zoom office hours today as well. What I'm going to do, as I always do, is I'm going to end with a very short video that is life-changing. It's an interview with Steve Jobs that I licensed from the Silicon Valley Historical Association. I just renewed the license for $1,200 per year, worth every penny if I can motivate you. So here it is. God bless you. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. I love you.
When you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way it is, and your life is just to live your life inside the world, try not to bash into the walls too much, try to have a nice family life, have fun, save a little money. But life, that's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, and that is everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. And you can change it. You can influence it. You can build your own things that other people can use. And the minute that you understand that you can poke life and actually something will, if you push in, something will pop out the other side, that you can change it, you can mold it, that's maybe the most important thing, is to shake off this erroneous notion that life is there and you're just going to live in it, versus embrace it, change it, improve it, make your mark upon it. I think that's very important. And however you learn that, once you learn it, you'll want to change life and make it better, because it's kind of messed up in a lot of ways. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again.